Imagine you're buying a gas car and the manual says, never fill the tank past 80%, never let it drop below 5%. And by the way, the range on the window sticker assumes you'd do both. You'd riot. That car exists though, and it's called basically every electric vehicle on Earth. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Here's something I've been chewing on. Do electric cars, specifically the ones you're not supposed to charge past 80% on a regular basis, really actually need two EPA range estimates. A regular range representing what you actually get from 80% of the battery down to about 5 or 10%, and then a max range for the rare full charge road trip. Because right now we get one number, and it's a fantasy number in most regards, and everybody's out there doing math homework in the parking lot trying to figure out what their real range is. I gotta back up here for a second because there's a genuine dissimilarity between gas and electric cars that I don't think gets talked enough about. With a gas car, you can run that thing to empty, bone dry, fumes only. That little orange light judging you for 40 miles, and then you fill it up, and it runs exactly like it did 60 seconds ago. No harm, no foul, no memory, the tank doesn't hold a grudge. So when the EPA gives a gas car a range, that's a real usable, repeatable number. You can drive to that limit, refill it, do it again tomorrow, and the day after, forever. But with an electric car, that behavior isn't really possible. You can't actually run the battery to zero. In fact, the battery basically never truly gets there. The car will shut itself off before the pack is genuinely empty because there's a hidden buffer at the bottom protecting it. And there's a good reason for that. Lithium batteries, if you fully discharge them, can develop some serious problems, potentially permanent ones. So realistically, the lowest you're going to comfortably get to is single digits, 3, 4, 5%, before you're sweating and bargaining with the charging app. At the top end, though, it gets worse because most EV batteries don't want to live at 100% either. Here's a simple version of why. A lithium battery at full charge is like a rubber band stretched all the way out. Holding it there occasionally, fine. Keep it stretched to the max every single day, and it eventually wears out. The chemistry is under the most stress at the very top and the very bottom, so it's happiest living out in the middle. Honestly, just like most of us in life and in general. Which is why the manufacturers themselves, Lucid included, gives all the EV owners specific guidance to keep it roughly between 20 and 80% for daily use and save the full charge for road trips. Okay, so now do the math with me, because this is where it gets a little insulting. If your daily reality is 80% at the top and about 5% at the bottom, you're living on about 75% of the battery. So that shiny 300-mile car on the window sticker, your actual everyday car is actually like a 225-mile car every day. The other 75 miles exists the way the gym membership exists, only in your mind and on paper, and against your credit card probably. And it gets genuinely misleading at the bottom of the market. There are cars out there with 200-mile ranges, 150-mile ranges. The old Fiat 500e was rated in the 80s, call it roughly a 90-mile car. Now, if I'm not supposed to charge that thing to 100%, and I actually only have 90 miles of potential range on the car anyway, that's not really a range estimate, it's almost a prank. That's a car that can almost do your life. Almost. In a bad way. Which is probably why it didn't really sell. And here's the part that truly drives me nuts. Not like a pirate with a steering wheel on his nuts, driving me nuts. The official numbers drive me nuts. They don't even hold up at 100%. Look at the Lucids. Gorgeous cars, genuinely efficient, some of the best engineering in the business, and the EPA ratings still don't seem to be anything like what people are actually getting. Edmunds bought a Lucid Air Grand Touring with their own money. EPA said 516 miles. They got 425. Tested it again after updates, 438. That's nearly 80 miles of range that exists only on paper. And here's the fun wrinkle I found digging into this. The reason isn't necessarily that the car's bad. It's that there are two different EPA test procedures, and manufacturers get to choose. Most automakers use the conservative one, and their cars can beat the sticker in independent testing. A couple of brands use the more optimistic one, and those are the ones that keep coming up short. Same government sticker, but two different math classes. Nobody tells you which one your car took. Oh, and my favorite detail of them all, you know how the EPA actually runs the range test? They charge the battery to 100% and drive it on a dynameter until it's completely dead, full to flat, which means the official range number is measured using the exact usage pattern the manufacturer tells you to never, ever use. The sticker is a stunt. It's the cinnamon challenge of automotive ratings. Here's what's possible. Do not attempt this on your own. So here's what I think should happen. And honestly, it's not very complicated. For the cars that live under the 80% rule, give consumers two different numbers. An everyday EPA range, basically 75% of the battery, 80% down to 5%. and a max range at 100%. The road trip number, the long day of driving number, the once in a while number. And to be fair, some cars only need one. The Slate EV pickup, for example, that thing uses a different battery chemistry, the kind that you can actually charge to 100% on a regular basis without essentially hurting it. So great, there's one honest number and it's done. And frankly, that difference alone is worth knowing. 2 EVs, same sticker range, and one of them gives you all of it every day while the other gives you 3/4 of it. That's not a footnote, that's the whole purchase decision right there. A window sticker that actually tells you the difference between your Tuesday range versus your vacation range. That would be totally fetch. That's the sticker I want to squint at a dealership for an EV. And look, I want to be clear about why this matters. It's not just a legal thing or an ethical thing, although it could be both potentially. It's that people need to plan. Range is the entire anxiety with these cars. It's the number people are buying. How far is your commute? Actually think about it. And now imagine finding out after your purchase that your real number is 25% smaller than the one you shopped for, because telling me the max range and then instructing me to only charge at 80%, then making me hunt for a charger by 5% might be overstating what I actually need most of the time. And that's not a spec, that's a bar trick. Gas cars have never had this problem. The number was the number. Let's get EVs to the same place. Tell me the real number, tell me the occasional number, and let me buy the car with my eyes wide open. That's it, Peter von Panda.